Sound rolling.
Camera 1.
Rolling.
Camera 2. Rolling.
My name is Alejandro Hopfenblatt. I'm a Semuri Stone postdoctoral fellow at the Stone Center for Latin American Studies here at Tulane. I have three main duties. On the one hand, I'm working within the Centennial Project, managing the creation of the digital archive, interviews, the website, and all the products that are related to the Centennial Project. And then the other two are related to teaching and research. I work within film studies. My main research is on the history of Latin American cinema, especially Argentine cinema. I'm looking into questions of exhibition, distribution, reception, and the possibilities or the history of film industries within Latin America, and the relationship with the state. So I also look into questions of propaganda, cultural diplomacy, and I teach courses on cinema, especially Latin American cinema, but not only that. And related to that also, I have a special interest in digital humanities, and just thinking how digital tools can be used both in teaching and in research in these topics. I arrived at Tulane in August of 2021. I did my whole career before that, my undergrad and my graduate studies in Argentina. And while I was doing a postdoctorate, I decided I wanted to take my career abroad. So I started looking for different possibilities. My main point of knowing about Tulane and about the Stone Center was, of course, Ana López. She was the leading figure in terms of studying Latin American cinema in the States. So the combination between this project that was addressing everything that I was doing at the moment, the possibility of working with Ana López, and the possibility of coming to New Orleans, which really was also something that attracted me. Linking all that, I decided to apply, and by August, I was here. If I have to choose one standout memory, I would have to go back to the first 2 weeks I was in this country and in this city. As I said, I arrived at Tulane in the middle of August 2021. That was in the middle of the pandemic. That day that I was able to come to campus was the last Friday of August, and that was the last Friday before Hurricane Ida hit the city. So when Hurricane Ida hit the city, I had only been at Tulane one day. I had met a couple of people, but not all the people that I would be working with. And that Monday morning after Ida, I was stranded in an 18th floor in downtown New Orleans with the city without power, with no telephone, and just trying to understand what I was doing here and how to get out of this. Eventually, I was able to evacuate 2 days later, but the one thing that really helped me make it through was having the support of the Stone Center, of people of the Stone Center. So during those 2 days, I was receiving emails from Sue Ingles and from Tom Reese, trying to guide me on how to learn about the evacuation process of Tulane or what to do while I was in the city. Olivia Cosentino was forwarding every communication. Hannah Palmer, Amalia, they were like texting me, also trying to see what I was doing. So all these people were in the middle of their own consequences, their own problems that Ida had brought, and still they were finding place, they were finding time to try to help me or guide me on what to do in this place that I was completely at loss. I think this brings a key component of the Stone Center, and that's the humane part. It's a really interesting place in terms of scholarship, in terms of academia, but there's a human component there that, as I said, it helped me get through Ida. It helped me know that whatever this city would bring, I would have some kind of backing from this community. Working on this project has been a really intense learning experience, but also a surprising one in many ways. I work within cultural diplomacy, so I know a little bit about relationships between the US and Latin America in cultural terms. But in terms of surprises, I would say the really surprising thing or the really interesting thing is the dynamic nature of the idea of Latin America, of how what was considered Latin America when Latin American studies started really strong after World War II, then had to grow to encompass indigenous cultures, to debates about what to do with non-Spanish and Portuguese-speaking countries within South America, Central America, and the Caribbean, how to include within the debates of Latin American studies the Latino or Latinx population, and how the different areas of Latin America change throughout the years in terms of relevance and in terms of how they are approached. So seeing that dynamic nature has been surprising, really interesting, and I think brings a really enriching perspective from this project. If I had to choose one word to describe the legacy of the Stone Center, I think that word would be connection. The fact that the Stone Center is really an interdisciplinary center, that it is a place where you can come from film studies, as I do, and just come to the events and talk with people in public health, in the business school, in law, in social sciences, trying to connect those different disciplines. That's something that happens a lot in this room, and I think that's a key component. The other way I'm thinking of connections is the connection with Latin America, and the way that the Stone Center engages with Latin American academia, which I think is one of the main issues to consider, more even nowadays with the digital era, where the connections are different because you don't need so much the travel, but you need to be in constant connect. And I think the Stone Center, by bringing people here, by sponsoring experiences or any kind of activities with Latin American academia, is really stressing this idea of connection. And that's what builds what I've said before, the whole idea of community that is central for this center.